thinking process. Now, we said that the design thinking process for different people is 5 steps, or here is 6 steps, depending. And then all of the factors involved in design thinking is an ideology. So it's not something that is just because I'm just building my business or because my business is just growing. Design thinking is ideology, something that you adopt throughout the lifetime of your business. It's something you adopt even when you deal with issues or challenges, whether personally, whether in your office, whatever it is. Design thinking is an holistic approach to solving problems. Yesterday, we talked about empathy, and then, yes, there was that assignment where you are to have a conversation with your customer. And I said preferably physical conversation where you can read their body language, because if the body language is 55%, is more than 55% of communication, then it is actually important. So having physical conversations with them and not asking them leading questions, asking them open-ended questions to really understand what they feel, how they feel it, or what they even think their problem is. Because people will think their problem is different things, but in you understanding what they think their problem is, you get a feel of what really you should be focusing on as a business. And then empathy. Empathy is seeing it through their eyes, appreciating them as human beings, because core to the design thinking approach is an human-centered approach. You have to look at it like that it is an human being that is going to use this thing. And I make reference to the ideology that says that do unto others what you would want them to do to you. Once you are able to put things like that in perspective, it makes it a little bit easier to be empathic. So what we are trying to do when you are listening to your customer is you are trying to be them and walk in their shoes. And when you put yourself in their shoes, you are thinking of how will I want to be treated. That yes, there's a place of how you want to be treated which forms the basis of your assumptions. And there's a place of you asking questions. Of course, they might not be sure as to how they want to be treated, but questions would give you pointers. And then you cannot put yourself in that situation. Okay, so how will I want to be treated if I'm in this kind of situation? So we gave ourselves an assignment yesterday, which is get in front of your customer. Yes, build that website, be on social media, but it's not nearly as important as having a conversation with your customer, with people that you are going to be providing your service to. And I made mention of the fact that quite a number of businesses in this incubation program, they are platform as a service. And platform as a service means that you are creating a connection or a platform for buyers and sellers to meet. So you have 2 sides of the divide to understand. You have to understand, what does the buyer want? How does the buyer want to be treated? What are the fears of the buyer? What is really important to the buyer? And you want to do that to and understand that to, on the other side, to the seller. How does the seller want to be paid? What makes the seller feels like they've done good work? Your work. So you might not even necessarily be a platform as a service, but having conversations with stakeholders to say, I want to see it from your own eyes. How will you want it to be solved? Is really what empathy is about. And then we spoke about different methods to gaining empathy. Is assuming a beginner's mindset. Don't be like, okay, I've been a tech bro for the past 3 years. I understand what it feels like to get jobs and to do jobs and people don't pay you your money complete. Or I understand what it feels like when I hear that something I could have done for 35% less, somebody went to India to give it to somebody to do it. Yes, you know all of that. Yes, but assume a beginner's mindset to say, okay, let's assume I'm just beginning. what are the problems? And then you're asking the why, the how, you're asking questions, the WH questions, the why, the how, the whom, the who, the where, to get a perspective of the problem. Like I said, the problem is really the foundation of whatever you are building. And we also emphasize on engaging with extreme users. You would learn a whole lot. So there's in the curve, in the customer curve, you have early adopters, you have people, the early adopters are people that if there's a new phone out today, they are buying it. They if they hear that there's a new app that is doing something, they're immediately on the app. They can tell you, other app, I've used it. When Thread came out, they were the first set of people on Thread. They know where all the keys are. And the early adopters, they are there. And yes, they are very important for your business, because that means that they are the low-hanging fruits. They're the ones you don't have to speak so much English. They just get it. You are talking and they just get it. You need to speak to those people. Because if there are people that they just get, that means that they are knowledgeable in probably that subject matter, and their insight to be very beneficial to you. You want to talk to the critical mass of the market, which is in the middle. The majority of your customers, how do they want it? Where do they want it? In what way do they want it? And then you now have at the extreme end another group of customers that would never, until the whole world has finished using it before they adopt that technology. They probably don't use, let's use a phone, for example. They probably don't even use phones. Or if it's system, they are still using desktop. They just will not move with the tiles. You want to have conversations with them to know what's their restraint. Why? Because at the root of everything, people have their why. Why don't you want to? Why do you feel like this? And I mentioned yesterday that those are the critical mass that you learn from. Those people that would not naturally, except there's a gun pointed to their head, that's when they will use the product. You want to speak to those people to understand. So there's nobody that is not important in the scheme of things, as long as they fit your target audience and they fit the demography of your customer. You want to have a conversation with them to know what exactly is the problem that you've perceived. So for today, we'll be moving on to defining. So you empathize, step one, and then you define the problem. Now we are going to do a quick class work. I'm going to send something to Femi. Femi is going to send it to you all individually on WhatsApp, or Femi, you can send it to people individually via the group chat. And then I'm going to call us up I'm going to call you up to talk about what Femi sent to you. But you are not going to say the exact same thing Femi sent to you. For example, let's say Femi sends, I like food, especially when it is well presented and sweet. You get the concept. So when we call you on this call, when it's your turn to speak, you then say that, but saying it your own way. Don't use the same words. Say, I'm a very visual person. What I see gets me excited, gets me interested. So when I see, Femi, you can mute yourself. So when I see things like different things, it excites me. And that's one of the very things I love about food. Now you've sort of said what I've said, but you said it in a different way. So I'm sending it to Femi now. Femi is going to drop it individually to us, maybe via the chat or via WhatsApp individually. And I'll give us 2 minutes to think about how to rephrase it without using those exact words. So what you're trying to do is create like a problem fund, a empathy session where I'm talking to my customers. But I just want my customers to say what the problem is in different ways. And then I'm sending my customers different things. All right, Femi, it has been sent to you. Please share with the members of the class. And by exactly 5:23, I'm going to start calling us one by one for us to say what you read what Femi sends to you. You put you say it in another way, and then we'll try and get out of all of the many the few things you say. So everybody has like 1 minute to say what they have to say. We'll try and find out the problem, and we move to, which is empathizing and defining the problem, and then we move to defining the problem. All right, Femi, I expect that you're already sending it. So our time. Okay, Eno says she does not understand the task. So the task is, I've sent Femi some things. Femi is going to randomly send it privately to everybody on this group chat. And then you're supposed to, when we come back, I'm going to call you, and then you're supposed to explain what Femi sent to you, not using the words Femi used in sending them. You explain it, you say it in another way, but at the end of the day, it means the same thing as what Femi is saying. So that's the task. Femi, please confirm that you're sending it to people.
Yes, I am.
All right. So we have, let me give us the next 2 minutes to read and think about it. And there we go. Okay, 1 more minute to go. All right, Femi.
Yes, ma'am.
So who was the first person
I've not gotten a reply. Okay. In no particular order, actually, because I can't remember. I sent it to all of them randomly. Yeah.
So just call people and then.
All right. So I see. I think the colleague was replying. Somebody was typing a message to reply me.
No, they don't have to reply you. They are going to tell everybody in the group the answer. So we are not so much, so we can start. Who is going first?
All right. All right. Great.
So everybody will try and decipher what the problem is. So Banjo, please go.
I know, wait.
It's your name that came to my mouth.
All right. Did I read what was sent then? Transcribe?
No, don't read though.
Okay.
The task is that
Don't read it.
we are trying to, we'll try and decipher what was sent to you.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. So I have a want or a desire to go to another place different from where I am currently, but I am not capable because I'm financially not buoyant, right? And I wish someone can make me financially enabled to fulfill that desire. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Banjo. Who is going next?
Okay, I'll go next one.
Okay.
Okay. I am yearning to explore the world and travel abroad. My dreams are hindered by the lack of savings. If only someone could grant me a loan, my wish would eventually come true.
Okay. All right. Who is going next? Thank you. Did we? So what you are supposed to do is not to read what was sent to you, is to say what was sent to you in another way. Not exactly. You are not supposed to read what was sent to you.
Yes, ma. Not that was what was sent to me.
Oh, okay. All right. Who is going next? Thank you very much, Emmanuel. You people, yeah. Bukola.
Okay, good evening,
Okay,
everyone.
Victor.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, please go.
Okay. I wish to tour around the globe and travel overseas, but I don't have enough money stashed up for that. I really hope someone can give me the cash now and I'll return it when I get back.
Okay. That's interesting to know. Thank you, Victor. Bukola.
Okay. The ability to save as much as I would like to splurge on my desire to see several places of the world has always been a challenge. I believe getting loans from people to make this desire come true will be the way forward.
Thank you, Bukola. Who else is on the call? Eno. Eno is always dropping chat. We don't know if Eno can speak. So everybody has spoken, yeah?
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Eno.
Okay. A strong desire to adventurously explore the world, but I can't because of my financial incapacity.
Okay. That's all, Abi, Eno.
Yes, ma.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, I hope that we all said things that were similar, but if we're not listening together, we might not really hear that okay, we're all sent the same thing. And how we individually interpreted it was different. You could see that Buki spoke as a lawyer. She was able to just volume and show that yes, she's a lawyer. You can see Victor saying he wants to travel the globe. Using globe tells you the kind of customer Victor is. I can't remember verbatim how Ban just said it, but the whole point is to say that when you talk to people, we in a way are around the same demographic, but when you talk to people are going to say the same problem in different ways. They're going to use their own words. Their personality would show there. Eno said she wants to see the world, but she does not have money. It has stopped there for her. Meanwhile, the old fool, whatever, was saying that if I see somebody to loan me, I don't mind paying back. So for her, she has stopped there that I want to travel, but I don't have money. Meaning there are some times that some customers would tell you things and they won't even give you the option that they would pay back a loan. I think Victor mentioned that it doesn't mind somebody giving him a loan and then he will pay back when it comes. But he's saying, I want to travel the world and I don't have money. So your work as the entrepreneur or as person doing the interview is really to ask, okay, you want to travel the world, but you don't have money. Okay, you don't have money. If you are alone, you don't have money. So what options is available? If you get a loan, will you like to take it? Will you want somebody to just pay for your trip? Maybe is looking for grants. Like somebody should just pay for my trip. I'm a baby girl. Someone should just pay for my trip. Is that what Eno wants? What other option exists? Does Eno want to pay back like immediately she comes? How Victor said it, he was coming across like immediately Victor gets back, it's just going to, maybe you will travel, you will also a bit and come back and then just pay the money. But how Bukola said it, we don't know if, okay, I'm going to travel, then I'm going to pay you over the next couple of months or couple of years. So there are a lot of things that is not being said in what the customer says. And part of the things after getting all of those information now is to define the problem. So what really is the problem? And in your definition of the problem, your problem has to be human-centered. That means somebody has to be at the middle of it. What's the problem? It has to be broad enough for creative freedom. Creative freedom is, okay, so the problem is somebody wants to travel, wants to see the world, but does not have money to. Is big. So it's not like does not have money to. So what method is the person going to travel the world? Is the person going to start? Is the person going to do GoFundMe and people are going to donate to the cause, and then the person travel the world? Is the person going to loan money? Is the person looking for a grant? So, but you are defining the problem to be broad enough such that from the beginning, you are not boxing yourself into a corner. Banjo is not saying that, okay, we want to build tech solutions for businesses and they are going to be using Java alone. That is boxing yourself into a corner. You want to define the problem in such a way that it allows you to be able to do anything that you want to do. It has to be narrow enough for it to make it manageable. Meaning that as much as you are not defining exactly in your problem statement now, as much as you are not defining exactly how that problem will be solved, you don't want to take everything on at once. So the problem is among us to say that, okay, so somebody wants to travel, they don't have money to travel. So is we not having a good, do we have credit system that will just loan people money? Do we even have a travel culture in Nigeria? Because if you are that kind of business that just wants to sponsor people that want to travel, do we have a travel culture in Nigeria? Do we have do we return money, especially the one for travel? Do we even return it? So you don't want to first and foremost go all over the place. You want to start with a manageable side, and then you begin the problem statement with a verb, because a verb shows that is something that you want to work on. You won't say that we have travel issues in Nigeria. No, we have travel issues. A lot of middle class Nigerians have travel issues. That's not a problem statement. That's a lamentation. So addressing, and is it really travel issues or is it money issues? When you define what it is it that people are just afraid, they don't want to travel, or people really want to travel? But when people travel, why do they even want to travel? Do they want to travel because they want to relax, or they want to travel because it's an escape route? Why do they want to travel? So when you are defining the problem, you are starting with an action word, addressing the financial challenges of middle-class Nigerians that want to travel. Addressing. So when you are forming the problem statement, you are starting with a verb. And this, we must note that the best solutions don't always come from the most obvious problem. When you ask, maybe somebody comes into the room and the person is looking all angry and all of that, and because the sun is so hot outside, and the person steps in and you be like, what's the problem? The problem must be that the sun is very hot. Yes, that's part of the problem, but maybe the root cause was the person forgot ATM at home. She couldn't withdraw. She didn't have cash, so she had to walk down. So yeah, the sun is hot, but it's the fact that there's no cash and she still has to go back home. How is she going to get cash? So most times, the most obvious problem, we must not get carried away with, it's obvious now. People just don't have access to lawyers, or it's very obvious. People don't know where therapists are to speak to them about their mental health issues. Or no, it's rather obvious. People don't know that they don't have to gather data to monitor their health. That's a very obvious problem. But the real problem is always deep down. It's always deep down beneath the surface. So don't get too excited when somebody says, oh, this is my problem. No, don't get excited. Listen to how they explain and they analyze the problem. That will show you the real in-depth problem. So for example, let me use ladies for example. A very beautiful lady, she goes out, but on her face, you just see quite a number of pimples. And then you in your big say, oh, you're so beautiful, but see pimples all over your face. Do you eat granules? Stop eating granules. Granules used to bring pimples out. Or what happened? Did you change your soap? All of that. Because to the person talking, that's probably the obvious. Why would pimples be on your face? Maybe you change your soap or you ate granules or something. But it might just be that it's that time of the month, and how that person's body signals that it's that time of the month is that pimples comes out on their face. Now, you could have assumed. Now, another woman too could assume that, oh, maybe it's that time of the month. But you don't realize that the person has probably been having breakouts even when it's not that time of the month. When it's that time of the month, it's just constantly there. So you can see the problem, pimples. But the root cause, what really is the problem? Is it an immune imbalance? Is it just the body saying, oh, is that time of the month where I hope you guys understand what I mean by is that time of the month? Or the body is saying, I've been exposed to death a lot. I need to be taking better care of. What exactly is the problem? So don't let us get excited when we talk to customers and they tell us the problem that we think we want to hear. Oh, Nigerian tech developers are not reliable. You take your money and you don't do the work. And then we are happy. Yes. No. Why? Why did you come to that conclusion? What happened? What was the scenario? Okay, you pay the person the money. What happened? Did the person travel out? Did the person... So if the complaint of the customer was actually, he traveled out and I could not reach him again. Oh, okay. So the fact that there was no link between the developer and the customer, when the developer could not be found, there was nobody that could actually do a deep search to say, okay, here is the developer. But for you as a platform, because you have a lot of details about the developer, you have their email address, you have probably a reference, you have all of those, or because the money is even with you, you are like the extra. That's the customer is satisfied. So you want to really move beyond what the obvious problem is and listen, ask more questions. So the person says, no, I can't afford to pay for legal services. Okay, I understand that. Why do you think you can afford it? I mean, maybe a typical, I don't know how much a typical legal services, but maybe it will probably just cost you this every month and to save you this. And of course, when you're talking to an entrepreneur, speaking in Naira and Kobo times is very good. So if you say that it will probably cost you just 50 Naira and save you 1,000 naira. Of course, that's not rocket science. Is better. The cost is what is saving is a whole lot more. And then the person says, I know, but this is really what I feel. Then you really now know what the problem is. So in defining the problem, we look at the action. We look at the action. We use action words, verb, to define the problem. We use action words to define the problem. I'm going back to the wheel that's talking about the design thinking. So yes, we move to empathy and we define the problem. We are combining all of the research. So listening to everybody on the call said the same thing, because it was exactly the same that was sent to us, using different words, using different English, some completing what was said, some not completing it. But if you had asked them question, they would have completed it. Some, using different vocabulary. Somebody said globe, somebody said world, using different vocabularies. Now, when you've taken all of that, some says I don't have money, somebody said I cannot afford it. There are two different things. I can't afford it is, to you, it might look like at the end of the day there's no money, but for a businessman, you really want to know you can't afford it. Does that mean that if you save 10,000 naira every month to the end of the year, you have 120,000? Having that money, would that afford you to be able to, you want to see Olumorok, will you be able to see Olumorok and spend like 4 days in Abeokuta like that? Yes. So the person cannot afford to bring out that 120,000 at once from their money, but they can afford to give you 10,000. Somebody say, I don't have money. It could be like, I don't even have a job. I don't have a steady income. That's another thing. So we must, when people, you are listening particularly to their use of words, and you are probing more to really understand what it is. So after you've done that, your defining is now combining all of it. You will see the same line. So finances, everybody is talking about money. So there's obviously a money thing here. Who is the customer? The customer is a young Nigerian between this age. That is the customer. What is the customer need? The customer needs to travel the world. That is the need. What is the issue? Finance. Okay, so what is now the nitty-gritty of what they are saying that will point you to how we should solve the problem? As much as customers, you interview with customers, will tell you what the problem is, it also points you towards the direction through which your conversation with them will point you towards the direction through which they want the problem solved. Someone that cannot afford it, that says, I don't even have the money, might not have regular pay. So the question is not that I'll be saving. You can't tell the person be saving every month. That will not work. So what are the options? Are you saying, okay, so we'll do like a GoFundMe kind of concept where your friends, maybe you take early birthday gifts and then your friends send you monetary gifts and then you use that to travel? That's another way to solve it, because that person has a different. So when you have that conversation with the customer, you are listening to how is it possible, or what solution is likely to work for them. So the next step, after you've empathized, after you've defined, collecting everything you've gathered over time. And this process is, like I said, is an ongoing process. But when you talk to, our objective is 20 people. I'll tell us the week where the 20 is to be met. But for next week is 3 people. So when you talk to the 3 people, and I said, make it different set of people. Like on this call now, we are all entrepreneurs. We are all looking to build our businesses. We are all intelligent minds. We probably have the same educational background. We probably have, our income brackets might not be too far from each other. So our response might not be too far. So what you want to do is ask somebody, okay, that is an entrepreneur, okay, that is maybe just starting. Let me take Legal, for example. Somebody that is just starting our business, maybe in less than 1 year. You interview the person to know why they will consider a legal service. Somebody that has stayed long in business, let's say 8, 9, 10 years, they are already more experienced and they should know better. So why still would they not want to sign up for a legal service? And then even the legal person themselves, why do they think in their own experience people don't want to sign up for? So you are picking from different demography within your target audience. And then after you defined it, this Linus is saying that to get a good idea, you need a lot of ideas. Meaning that you don't just say, oh, I know the solution. You are, and that's what we are doing basically in incubation. You are ideating, you are still looking at that idea, and you are looking at how, so this is the problem. This is what, and these are the constraints of these people I want to solve the problem for. How can I solve this problem? And so ideate the wide range of creative ideas, and it's generated to address the defined problem. So you are writing different methods out. So on this call, can we talk about this, our problem now that we've identified? Somebody that wants to travel the globe but does not have money. What are the different ways? What are the different ways that we can solve this problem for the person? Of course, we said we have to brainstorm, which is you start with the problem statement, you stay on the topic. So guys, let's do it a shot. What are the different ways that you think we can solve the problem for this, our young customer that wants to travel the world but does not have money? So who is going first? Adebanjo, as usual. Banjo, you are the first name on my end, so I'm going to call you. The principle of brainstorming is that there's no, you write down anything that comes to your mind. Don't overthink it.
Okay. So I would even want to ask this customer why he or she wants to travel the world. It may be that at the end of the reason for the why, he doesn't even have to travel the whole world eventually. So I think I will ask why.
That's very correct. So ask why.
If
yes.
I know the why, then I cannot proceed on other things. So if assuming the why is to network with people, right? Then the next question would be what kind of people? Is it people in the same line of business or connecting with a mentor? You just have to meet physically so as to have a 5-minute dinner with that person to discuss business idea and mentorship and all that. So
yeah,
something like that can
okay, that's good. And thank you, Adebanjo. What you've done is that you've defined the problem, you've empathized to ask why and all of that, and then we are still saying, okay, so maybe this is the definition of the problem. Now I'm saying you decide. Let's take theoretically from the line that you are working with. Assume you've asked the person the why, the person has told you. So how do you think you can solve it? Is your solution I want to hear now? So yeah, you've told me, I love the fact that I started with the why. So the why is that the person really wants to network. So how do you think you can solve it? Don't overthink it. That's what ideation is about. Ideation is you picking literally a biro and a book and writing anything that comes to your mind first.
Okay, so I think it will be to list out the names of the person. Let's break it down. Let's fragment it. So networking, what type of person or what type of people?
And how will you solve it? I get it, Banjo. you are still, yes, you are doing the brainstorming, which I love. But because I want to go around the class, I would like you to say, okay, so this is how I will solve it. Using parameters. So you are free to tell me that, okay, the person wants to network with white people because the person feels that white people are the best set of people in the world. So this is how I'm going to solve that problem. Or this is the idea that I want to use.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, let me move to Bukola, then I'll come back to you. But really, this is what the brainstorming and the ideating process is about. You first, which was what Banjo was doing, but for the sake of time, I didn't want him to do that work. Was you go down why? What kind of people does this? So in case you mix this, Victor, I can see your hand. I'm coming. In case you've missed out on one critical thing, like Majo was saying, what kind of people do you want to network with? If you didn't ask, going back to ask, and then just thinking about it before you come to the ideation, so you've defined it. So in the defined stage of idea thinking is where all of these things, you defined it, and then ideating is coming up with the answer. So yes, Victor, please go ahead.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you.
Good evening. Yeah.
For this, I would have imagined that it is someone who's earning, let's say, a little income, let's say 30,000, 50,000 per month.
Okay.
So if they don't have the current money now, I can now bring in a tranche payment system. I tell them, okay, you can be paying 10,000 per month. At the
Okay.
end, you go on the trip now, but
Okay.
you keep refunding us 10,000 per month, depending on the total cost of that it costs you to go on the trip.
Okay. Okay. So how will you make money?
How will I make money? If the total cost of the trip, for example, is 100,000, and you have to pay 10,000 in 10 months, because you're now paying incrementally, you pay 10,700 per month. So the cap, the 700, like capping the cost for each month. That's what we keep.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Victor. Bukola, how are you going to solve that? What idea? What solution will you? It's not that deep. First. It doesn't have to make sense. Go to the point.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm still thinking about it, but I'm just thinking about so I'm assuming, right, that was spoken to the customer, and the reason why the customer doesn't have enough savings is because he's not, quote unquote, earning enough to be able to save as much that would get him to the world, to places on the globe in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm thinking of is looking at high, what's that English word? At skills, yes, looking at skills and professions that give like a lot more money, and then providing those skills to be learned by the customer, so that he knows that, okay, if I can learn this skill, I can get a job that will make me earn more money.
That is earning dollars.
Yeah, not necessarily even
but yeah,
no, not necessarily even tech, yes. Yeah, but can earn something that can then make him
afford the travel. Oh, fantastic.
Exactly.
Thank you, Buki. Thank you, Bukola. So Emmanuel, do you want to give it a shot?
Yes, ma.
Okay.
Okay, the first thing I will ask the customer is how soon is he or she willing to embark on the journey? That would be the first question I will ask, because that will really help to like strategize and actually plan ahead. If it's something he's willing to embark on very soon, like as soon as possible, that means I would suggest he or she goes for like probably option of getting loan and probably crowdfunding or something. So, but if it's something that can actually wait till a later time, he or she can strategize, probably start saving towards the trip.
So what solution are you going to provide as an entrepreneur? You are a businessman. At the end of the day, you are not a charity organization. Neither you. So what business solution are you going to just recommend? So Buki would upskill the person, say, learn this, will probably get you remote internship or remote jobs. And then if you're already working remotely, one day they'll say they want to do team board, they come over. Victor is saying he's going to say, okay, save per month, and then you pay an interest on it. So what is the solution that you are going to advise?
Okay. Can you just give me 1 or 2 minutes to think about it?
It's just something that comes to your head. All right. Banjo, you should have finished thinking about it.
Actually, nothing. NSC.
And really sometimes ideation is like that when you have the problem statement and then you are looking, you've defined it. So I think where the struggle is for Banjo is he has not defined it. He has jumped a step. And if without defining it, you cannot really actually ideate, because defining it makes it clear in your mind what the problem is. So to Buki, how she has defined it is that these people need to increase their earning capacity, and then that's how she has defined the problem, that if they earn more, they'll be able to travel the world. Victor has defined it as if they have the saving discipline, then they'll be able to travel the world. In defining it, it's going to make ideation a little bit easier. And like I said, you can see what is on the slide is you are not judging whether it's, so there's no right or wrong answer. Actually, Buki's idea is not better than Victor's idea at this stage, because you're ideating, you're writing down every method to which you can solve it. So what you do, for example, in TrueLance is after you have had conversations with the customers, there's a place that you're writing your findings, and when you collate these findings, then you now sit down to say, okay, so how can we solve this problem? Do you understand? And then you are writing down different ways. If you think that how you can solve the developer, the issue of people not wanting to work with developers because they have trust issues or something. If at first what comes to your mind is that let them take their passports. So I'm developing for you, take my passport. Or I'm developing for you, take my BVN. If that's the idea that first comes to your mind, write down everything. It's weird, it's wacky, it's looking like it's wild, it doesn't look like it makes sense. Write down every method that you can think of. And then when you now do that, you now start to, so you want to write plenty. It's not like you are looking for one. No, you are writing plenty. You are aiming for quantity. You are writing plenty. Then after you've done that, you are now building on each of the ideas. You are taking your fantastic idea to say, okay, so what if how we can solve that issue is what now? Is raising funds from people abroad to say that this person wants to see the world for their mental health. If you discover that it's actually because of mental health, they want to travel the world for their mental health, help an African. And then those ones, they decide that, oh, okay, I want to help somebody, I want to help them, and they send money. So if that's the idea that has come to your mind, write it down. So you are writing it down, and then you are starting to build on it to say, okay, so why would somebody abroad just send somebody in Africa money? Because they just want to travel the world. How can I refine that? And then you pick another idea. You start to see how they can match, how you can merge them together, and that's when you start to criticize your solution. You don't criticize what you've come up with before writing as many possible solutions down as possible. And then you trash it out. You take the merit of each of the solutions. So you have a solution to say, let's take this Victor's solution, for example. Victor's solution is saying that they pay 10,700 every month when they come back. And then you look at it and say, if these people don't come back, if they become part of those people, so far it's abroad now, it's not like it's within the country or within Africa. If it's within the country, there's a high percentage that they will come back. That's the highest percentage. If it's within Africa, there's still a high chance that they will come back. But if it's in the Western world, the percentage is dropping. It's dropping per location. So you are looking at the merit of saying, okay, so should we tell them to do that after they've gone? Or should we say, once you save up to this amount, you can go? Do we collect, do we say someone that is here, let somebody that is here be the one paying it? You now start to define what is the merits of the problem, but not until you've written down everything that connects. So Emmanuel said, I can create a platform that connects travelers in need of funds with lenders or investors who are willing to provide travel loans. That's also another way to approach it. So there are different ways to approach a problem, but you now start to look at the merits and, of course, the competency that you have. So, for example, for care, I'm trying to remember Victor's business now. For CareTrace, okay, so if CareTrace says that how we want to solve this issue, for after they define the problem, is that okay, so we want to cure people of these diseases, and then the question is, do they have the capacity to actually heal these people? If they don't have the capacity to heal them, then that's out of the window. But not until they've written down everything. So you are ideating about CareTrace, you're saying, okay, so maybe looking at the meals they eat, you want to ensure that their vitals stay within a particular framework. So should we even be concerned about the kind of meals they eat? Should we start from there? So if we have a special food organization that is focused on preparing food for hypertensive and diabetic patients, is there a place to start? Because from there we know what they are eating, and then from there it's easy for us to get the data. Or we say, okay, no, don't let us start from the food that they are eating. Okay, let's say that from so you are looking at different ways that you just can solve this problem, and then you start to build on it. So because we've started, so we are in different phases. Some have started in this website, some are already somewhere. Go back to your ideation, go back to defining the problem, and in your ideating process, try and assume a beginner's mindset. Like, try and assume a mindset like you've not even built a solution yet. Come up with different things. Okay, so the diabetics and the whatever patient, do we have the diabetes and the hypertensive patient? Okay, so do we do like a form of a community kind of course they have communities for hospitals, but do we actually build communities for them where we engage them, where we bring experts to talk to them, where they do things together, do we build a community around this? How do we build a community? Do we have the competencies to build a community? Of course, what you're doing is already you have a functional MVP that is collecting data and all of that. Yes, that is there. Yeah, put it there. But in your ideation process, you are thinking about different angles. And it's very important, because when you think about different, you let your mind go everywhere. By the time you start to test the strength of your ideas, you see that in that thing that you think is so doesn't make sense, in that thing that you think is out of this world, you can get a tiny concept from it that you can add to probably what you already have, or to something else, and it's just boom. So that's why we need the crazy ideas. Now, the next step is, so you've empathized with the customer, you've defined what the problem is, you've ideated, and then you've picked one particular point of action to start with. The next step is to prototype. And prototyping involves creating tangible representation of your idea. So what is your idea? If you say that you want let's go back to Victor's example, that wants to take money, like, so you pay 10,700 per month. Okay, so what's the prototype that it has to build? Does it have to build a app already, or can it just have a landing, or have a web? Excuse me, please. Or can it just use WhatsApp bot? Or just use WhatsApp to say, okay, so you need to travel, chat up this number, and then chat up this number, and then they ask a couple of questions, and then you are in. Prototyping is really just trying the testing it before you go all out. Imagine you are invited to, because I'm a food person, I'm going to use food. You're invited to a business person to cook for 1,000 people. And you are cooking a meal that you don't cook often. What's the wise thing to do first? Do you just cook? Do you just watch it on YouTube? You've spoken to experts, and then you go and cook for the 1,000 people. Let me hear you guys on the chat. Let me know that I'm not alone here. So what do you do? Do you okay, you've gotten the contract, but it's something that you don't usually do. And then what's the next thing that you do? And you figured out how you are going to do it. Like, you know that, okay, so I'm going to because they said they want the food to be hot, you are going to cook at the venue. I'm waiting for our chat to drop. I'm going to cook at the venue. We are going to cook at a space. We are going to move our gas and all of that. So do you just start? Is that day when you are cooking for the 1,000 people? Is that the first day that you attempt the cooking? Let me hear us. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So, well, of course, that won't be the first day. You would have
Okay.
to have learned it previously, and as much as possible, maybe you have like someone who knows how to make the meal perfectly collaborate with you, especially because you're not making it for 2 people or 5 people, you're making it for like 1,000 people, which is, I mean, for a meal that you've not done before. So aside learning how to make it previously, of course, I think collaborating too would also make sense.
Thank you very much, Buki. And thank you guys for dropping stuff in the chat box. So I just don't feel alone up here. Yeah, the best thing is if you're at least the best point of action is you're cooking for 1,000 people and you've not done that particular meal before. Yeah, it's even probably to start with like 2 people or something that you can eat first. And then after you've gotten that, and then you cook for maybe your friends and you invite your friends, you cook for them. Oh, they love it. All right. Now you want to cook 1,000. Of course, is now you already know the basic things to combine. It's not how to combine a skill. And what Buki said is actually very nice to say that somebody that has done that before is good to collaborate with the person so that first time, as much as you are doing it at 1,000, you have some
Sorry, everyone. I guess it's the network. Should be joining us soon.
Apologies, guys. My modem is showing me something. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, well, we can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So is prototyping would now be to test on a small scale. And what that will mean to us will be that, okay, so we are creating a solution for let me use legal as example, connecting people with lawyers. So before we build that very complex system that will connect 100 people to 100 lawyers at the same time, can we prototype with something that can help us do maybe one person and see the process through? What's the process like? If I want to work with one person, what's the process like? How does it work? What's the reception? If 2 people or 3 people use this process, what's it like? So answering that question would help us build, not spend a whole lot of money. I found out that, oh, maybe we should have tweaked this or we should tweak that. So the essence of prototyping is to move from there, is to start small. Okay, can we have a low fidelity kind of prototyping such that it's not difficult, it's just simple, almost manual. It's simple, it's almost manual, and we see how the customers would interact with it. Because one thing that you find out in this life is that people can tell you one thing. You can go to people and say, so I have this bread that I want to make. The bread is made from pineapples. The name of the bread is pineapple bread. How much will you pay for this pineapple bread? Or how will you like it delivered to you? And then people can say, I will pay like this amount for the pineapple bread. I'm still on screen now. I'll pay a very plenty amount for this pineapple bread and all of that. You don't want to say, oh, I've asked people in the market. They say that they'll pay 2,000 naira per pineapple bread, and then you go and produce 500. That's not what you do. What you do is you make 2 pieces first. You make the 2 pieces, let it look like, you might not be able to, because you don't have your machines yet. You've not even bought the machine for the bread. You just went to your friend that has an oven, that, please let me just quickly break this thing, and then you put it inside a package, and then you go there. You want to confirm, and then you get there and they say, oh, is this what you were saying? I didn't know this is what you were saying. I thought you said pineapple and bread, not pineapple that they use bread to make. Or I would prefer it if it's, so you don't want to have bought machines, you don't want to have done all of those, and then you now found out that really that's not how they want it to, that's not how it will work for them. So there are 2 different kinds of prototype. There's low fidelity prototype. I'm sure our UI UX guys on the call we can really identify to that. And the high fidelity prototype, the low, you are testing, how with this, how before you even put a lot of work into it, is this something that they will do? Okay, people are responding. Okay, let's do an higher version to test, because at the end of the day, after you've defined the problem, it's still your definition of the problem and your ideation, meaning the solution you come up with, is still an assumption. You have to test it. So you don't want to invest heavily before testing it. Banjo, please go ahead.
All right. So I want to clarify, does prototype also talking about MVP? Is it the same thing or different?
It's not, the principles are the same. Let me answer it like that. So your MVP is your minimum viable product. Minimum viable products, meaning that your MVP is that version that you can give to a customer and a customer will pay for. Do you understand? That's what your MVP is. And it's also to test before you do something very big. Your prototype can also be like that. Or your prototype might not be something that you can pay for at first. Your prototype is you've made the bread and then you brought the bread to them to say, look at the pineapple bread. And then they say that, or you bring a picture. That's low fidelity. You bring a picture and you say that this is how the bread will look like. This is how the bread will look like. This is how we package. This is how we bring it to you. Now you've not spent money. And then the customer looking at it to look at it. So no, this really was not what I was thinking about. Or yeah, you got it right, but I'll prefer this. Prototype is not necessarily that you can get. It's not necessarily at a stage where you are not building to get money out of it. You are building to like create sample, just like when people say bring sample. Prototype is like you are doing sample. MVP, as much as MVP is your minimum viable product, meaning that the minimum version that people can pay for, people have to be able to pay for your MVP. It's not like, oh, this is what you want to build. This is how it will look like. And then that's your MVP. No, it's not about this is what you want to do. This is how it will look like. It is, have people paid for it? Can people start using it? People have to use it. People have to interact with it. That's your MVP. Your prototype is still is on the journey to MVP, but it's not yet there. It's still very far to the picture. It could be, oh, this how it looks like. You are not necessarily looking to sell at that point. You are just trying to like get the framework. So Banjo, am I clear?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So after you've done that, the testing is now prototypes are tested with real users to gather feedback and insight. So you are looking at how, so if yours is a platform, you are testing to, you give the person your system and you say, okay, please go to caregrace.com or caretrace.com, and then you just tell them to do their thing and you're observing how they will interact. You're not telling them, okay, go here, press it. No. You're just looking at where they will naturally go to first. Which option on your web page or your app will they go to first? How will they interact with it? The home page the logo that if they click, it will take them back home. Are they clicking it to go back home, or they are going to the browser and they are refreshing it again? So test is just observing how the customer is using it to see if it fits into, it solves the problem. Because yes, you have, when you come out from your ideation with set of solutions, there are still assumptions. So what you are doing is going back to the customer to test those assumptions. And you don't want to test those assumptions by when you want to test it the cheapest way possible. And then in testing it, there are sometimes that if you are pointing, let's say, okay, you are trying to check a customer interaction on your platform, and Caretrace is saying, no, that's not where you should press. Press this place. No, press that place. No, this is where you should press. That's not testing. Because when anybody that is interacting with your platform anywhere they're not going to be there. So your work is to watch how they will interface with it. If you always want them to go to the right every time they come, and then you found out that most of the people that are using it are going to the left, what can you change? Why are they going to the left? But then you do this, you can see the tips, you create a comfortable and a non-intimidating environment for participants. Be neutral and avoid leading or biased questions. Just like what you are doing when you're empathizing. You are encouraging participants to provide honest feedback. Now, giving honest feedback, people just think that, people that are blunt, they don't have, they are not nice. But I think we underestimate how sometimes difficult it is to give honest feedback, especially to people that we know. Because you are looking at them emotionally. Probably you know that they've not been sleeping for the past 3 weeks, trying to come up with the pitch deck that they've come up with. And then you see it and it's all crap. And you know that they actually did the work. A part of you wants to empathize and say, it's actually not bad. But that's not the part that is helping. You are not helping that person and you're not helping yourself. Because you won't get value. The person won't be able to provide value. So you encourage, and feedback is not something people are Some people are natural with telling you how it is. They just say, that's how it is. They don't even look at you twice. But a lot of people, you need to whine them. You know, when they say whine, you need to like whine and say, okay, so I'm open to your feedback. So let me listen to what you are asking questions to bring that feedback out of them. You are looking for ways to, because you need that feedback. And feedback would be criticism. It could be like, this is not useful. I can't even see what is on the screen. It will be painful to you because it's hours of work, but the person has saved you a lot. And then you'll be open to surprises and unexpected findings. You just be wondering, okay, this is not what we made it for. Why are people using it like this? It's just like when you come to, they will always joke that when you come to an African house, you see ice cream bowl and you're happy in the freezer. Oh, it's ice cream that is inside. And then you open it, you see egusi. Or you open it, you see fried fish. You'll be surprised that so is this what we made the bowl for? But then you look at how people use things, and that would also educate you on the things that you could tweak. So CareTrace has that data gathering platform. Have you observed your target audience interact with the platform? How do they interact with the platform? Do they find it easy to interact with the platform? Or do they find it hard? When they are typing the numbers, is it easy for them to type the numbers? Are they, or does the numbers ask them for what is the unit? How do they interact? The interaction with it will tell you a lot. Some people will say that by watching two people, maybe a boy and a girl, you can know, okay, if they are actually going out, if they are friends, if they have a tendency of being a good couple, by just watching you are just observing. And their body language, the way they are talking, the tone of their voice, the things that they do would show you, will say things beyond. So honest to goodness, a boy and a girl can actually be just friends. Honest to goodness. There might not be anything within them, but you are watching from afar, you're looking at these people, they just don't know it yet. They like each other. Now, if you ask them, they will not tell you that. Just, oh, it's just my friend. But you that you're observing, be like, these people they have it. That's what you do in testing, in the tips. You are observing to see how are they interacting. How are they interacting with it? Where do they go? When people get to your website, where do they go? When they come to your platform, do they accept that, oh, they just immediately want to speak with the developer, or they want to speak with the organization? What do they want first? They want to fill a form, or do they feel comfortable talking to an human being first with the camera on? I want to see who I want to give my money. What are they comfortable with? So that's what you do in testing. And I think this is the last slide, and it's talking to, this is very pivotal, saying that design is not finished until somebody else is using it. If nobody is using your product or your service, it's not yet finished. One person has to have used it. So I don't mean that, oh, okay, you don't have customer right now. So of course, there's a lot of work. But if somebody has interacted with it, when people, and for every interaction, you want to get feedback, nobody is interacting with what you've done. So when you test and then what you see, you like it, then you are good to now move to your MVP that Banjo was talking about. You are now okay to move to an MVP where you want people to start paying for it. So for if it's legal more, okay, so what is the prototype that we can do? We want to connect lawyers and customers. Okay, so what's the prototype? Okay, tech guys are still working on it. Let me find somebody, and let's just even do my lawyer. Okay, so we know you are going to be working with us for a long time. Can you give us just 30 minutes free consulting session? Your lawyer agrees. And then you talk to the entrepreneur. You say that, okay, you don't have to pay. We just want to see how we can Yeah, you can even say that I want to give back to society. Just want to see how we can help your business. So he's not paying. Your customer, your lawyer too is a free session. So you are not losing money. But of course, you spend time engaging the two of them, and then you start the process. So when you send form to your customer, is it say, oh, did you send me a form? Oh, I didn't see the form. Ah, you should have called me. That will inform you that probably, because you can't use one person to judge, you'll be watching. Probably, maybe people prefer calls than emails. Maybe people don't, maybe some people are, their emails like their WhatsApp, they are not far from their emails. Maybe some people, it's only weekends that they check their emails. And then they come to the meeting and the guy is just talking. And your lawyer says the 30 minutes is up, and we do this per 30 minutes. So it gives you an insight that probably your lawyers want to charge per hour for consulting, or okay, no, we can't do that per hour. It has to be by end result. So you are looking at, you are watching the interaction, and you are looking at what will work before you even build something very complex, where will work, and you are testing it. So it's like a test. For example, we can even test within ourselves to say, oh, Banjo, you guys are going to draft contracts in TrueLabs. We draft contract. Okay, so let's try and see, let's see if we can help you with some basic contracts. And then, okay, you fix up on that layer free. So what's the process? Banjo says, that lawyer, can't we just do WhatsApp? That Visca one will not work for me, or can't we do Zoom? Or must I talk to the lawyer? Can't I just send the things that I want to the lawyer? Do I have to talk to him? That starts to shape how your customer wants to interact with it. Caretrace, they are saying, okay, must I type it in? I don't want to have to go to the website, refresh. There's no space on my phone for app. Can't I just send it on WhatsApp? Or can't I log it on my email drafts? So when people give you that feedback, that's why you can't say you are building anything when you are not talking to the customers that you're building it for. You have to be talking to them. So until you now see the questions people ask you, their disposition will now tell you, okay, this is how these people want it. So bottom line, people, design thinking is human-centered, meaning that you must always remember that your customer is a living, breathing human being that has tired days, that is not always collected, because you can say, people should see it now. Where we put it, people should see it now. And then you forget that when you are tired, even something that is staring you in the face like this, you're just like, what's going on? You can't see it. So design thinking is a human-centered approach, looking at people as people, saying that they will have down times, they will have times where they are bubbly, they will have times where they're quiet, they have times where they are chit-chatty. And the solutions has to take cognizance of that. And then you are looking at the design process ideology. Now, I said that this design process ideology is not just that I'm just building my business. For any point, you want to build a new service, you want to build a new product, you want to enter a new market, you want to anything new, you would constantly use it. So you first empathize, you ask the why, you get their feelings. The emotions are very important. The emotions are very important. Get to the root of the emotions. People buy with emotions, not with logic. Logic will now help will accentuate what emotion has already decided to buy. So you have to understand the emotions, you define the problem, and in defining the problem, you take into cognizance people's different use of words, global, word, different use of words. I don't have enough, I can't afford it. Different, you take that into cognizance, merge it together, define it, and sometimes is it, no, I don't think this slide has ended though. It has not ended. Don't worry, we're about to round up, but I just remember that one of the critical things of design thinking is that it's non-linear, meaning that you can move from prototyping. When you prototype it, the feedback you get from prototype tells you that what your definition of the problem is wrong. So you jump from prototype back to definition. Sometimes it tells you that your conversation, your empathizing stage is wrong. Or it's not too correct, you go back. So it's not like it's a linear. There are times where you are moving between prototyping and defining. You are moving between prototyping and defining. Sometimes you're moving between ideating and prototyping. It's not a straight road, it's a dance. And then on this slide, you can see different things. So in your discover, which is your empathizing, you are doing user interview, you are doing stakeholder interview, you are using surveys, you are doing data analysis, you are metrics, you are looking at your competitors. Yes, I forgot to mention that. You're looking at your competitors. What are they doing? How are they doing it? And do their customer like it? So if their customer likes how they're doing it, start from there. So you're observing. Those are what you're doing in empathizing stage. Defining, you're looking at problem statements, you are looking at the narratives, you are combining all of those. Ideating, you are using different methods. There's storyboard. Storyboard is you're putting everything on board and then you're trying to get a story from it. You are looking at the user journey. Okay, so this is the journey of the problem. Okay, how can we start to solve this? You are looking at all of that. You're prototyping. Okay, are you going to do a paper prototype? Can you afford to do a paper prototype? Can you do a mock-up? I know that then when you want to build a website, you do a wireframe or something. Then the person sees. So it's not a website that has all of the code behind it. It's just a wireframe where, okay, this is how it should look like. When people click this place, you use mouse to tell them when they click this place, this is where to take them to. Because you don't want to build website and people say, oh, this is not what I mean. And you've done 4 months of work. So you prototype, and then, of course, the almighty testing. You have to test it. How do you do the testing? Different methods in which you test it, and then observe people. Iterate. So you go back along that value chain until when you solve the problem, you will know. Because when you get to your test stage, you see how people interact with it. Are they happy? Is their life better? Does it make them feel all right? If maybe their happiness is still 20%, you go back till you get 30, go back till you get 40. So it's a process that is actually back and forth. So what are the key principles we mentioned? Human-centered empathy is a process to go back and forth, to collaborate with people. What are the key principles? We've discussed that. What are the mindsets? Because you need a mindset for this. Empathy, I'm sure that empathy must have been ringing in your mind since yesterday. You are going to make a lot of mistakes. So you learn from failures. And that's why we advise that you fail fast, fail forward. To some people, they will be like, they've come, aspire to perspire people. No, fail fast, fail forward is quickly fail so that you know what you need to adjust and then you move on. So and then you learn from your failures. You are optimistic. You do this, 20%, you are happy. You're optimistic that you can solve it to 100. It's at 30. You're optimistic that you can solve it to, you are optimistic. You have to have creative confidence. Creative confidence is believe in your idea. It's not like, I'm sitting, will it work? You've not written the idea in your ideating process. Write it down. Believe that you are a creative person. That no, this brain is working. You have the ability to conceptualize and find the answers. So you believe in the capacity of your brain, and then you let it find expression. So these are the mindset that you must have. You have to be empathic. That one is very, very, it's like the fundamental part of it. And then, like what I was saying, it's a non-linear process. So you move, you have empathy, you go to define. From define, sometimes when it's not clear, go back to empathizing, and then you just keep going back like that until you find the answer. And I said, what is the indicator that you found the answer? Is how people respond in the test phase. Are they better? Do they like it? Did they okay? So when we wanted to make the rice, we decided to start with local rice, not with basmati, because basmati is very expensive, and they want to start cooking a kind of new rice, pineapple rice. or maybe pineapple or agbalumo rice. Yes, want to start with agbalumo rice, but we don't. Basmati is very expensive. So what's the cheapest rice that we can use? Oh, people, what is, oh, people say it's sir. People say, and you start to do all those tweaking. When you now get it, you see people are happy. They can eat it. You can now move to your basmati. So what's the summary? In summary, design thinking is a creative dance. So as an entrepreneur, you must be ready to dance. Sometimes the dance is not funny. One of the things that you must be as an entrepreneur is flexibility. Sorry. A lot of dancers, they are flexible people. You see them dance like this. You're like, how can you move your body this way? They're just very flexible. In order for you to dance, you have to be flexible. You can't say, no, I must use Java to build this thing. No, these people must meet, the lawyers and the customer must first meet on Google Meet. That is it. No. Flexibility is something that you learn in design thinking. And when you are flexible, that means you won't take you know that you will fail, but you adjust. That is what it's about. So design thinking is a creative dance. It is a dynamic interplay of understanding, ideating, experimenting, and refining. With each iteration, meaning iteration is you're going over and over and over again, tweaking something, taking it out, tweaking something, oh yeah, test, tweaking it, okay, did they like it? Tweaking it, no, they love the former one. Tweaking it, oh, they love the other one. Tweaking it, oh, where's that one that I liked this thing about that other one? So you're now, okay, the first prototype plus the third prototype plus the fifth prototype, you merge it, oh, now you've gotten it. So that is what design thinking is about. So what is Albert Einstein leaving us with this evening? He's saying that if I have an hour to solve a problem and my life depended on the solution, I will spend the first 55 minutes determining the proper question to ask. You can see that it's in tandem with me sweating on empathy yesterday and defining, really asking, really gathering, and then defining. The defining phase is also very important. For once I know the proper questions to ask, I could solve the problem in less than 5 minutes. And you can hear that also when Banjo was trying to solve the problem. Banjo was saying that I want to know why really. Okay, networking, what kind of networking? Is looking for the proper question to ask. Because once you have that question in perspective, you really would be able to solve the problem. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is design thinking. Do we have any questions? I would like to play a very short video for us to watch, and then we discuss about the video and go. But before we do that, do we have any questions? Any questions? People, we said this is an interactive class, so I need your feedback.
Yeah, not a question, but sort of concerns and the issue of failure. Right. It's not as though I'm afraid to fail. Of course, before up to this stage in my life journey, I failed at certain things, but when at what point does the failure becomes, or is it unbearable, or how can I use the word now? Like this one is really hard, and you're like, man, I still want to do this thing. So I don't know if it can, but because there I don't know the English word. Yoruba will say Oja Okunkun. So I don't know. Just if you understand, you cannot do a feedback.
Badger, I understand your question. And really, that is one of, they'll tell you that when we get to the, maybe Mind Africa will give us data, but they'll tell you that entrepreneurs are more likely to be depressed than the average person. And why is that? Because sometimes, even at the beginning, you are working more. So when people say, be your own boss, be an entrepreneur, except they don't want to do it properly. You want to do it properly at the beginning. You are working that you will be a master of your time. What's master of your time? Midnight, you are working. Early in the morning, you are working. If you are working at a 9 to 5, you can say, maybe they paid me for 9 to 5 now. If I give them extra 2 hours, they should be happy. So failure, I was saying that to say that mental health is one of the very serious things that entrepreneurs have to be mindful of. And part of what contributes to that mental health issue is failure. Because there are sometimes that you are it. You know when something happens to you once, you can still say, let's go. It happens to you twice. Your ginger might not be as much as the first one. But if you are getting constant jabbing, it can really be a lot of work. So you say at one point, does one give up? I think that failure is a big part of success. And as entrepreneurs, we fail, even normal people fail. But entrepreneurs, we have the rate higher. They are going to miss some deals for silly reasons. They are going to, it's going to happen. But it is you, when that happens, what I do as a person, when I'm really it, I withdraw. I take care of myself. Maybe I would watch a movie. I'll just look for something that can help my mind relax. I was mentioning yesterday that I go for walks. That's part of it. That would help relax. So if there's a failure or a challenge, quote unquote, I am more positioned to absorb it. But it can eat you hard. So part of the things that you do is to want to have a community of entrepreneurs around you. People that speak the same language. It's easier by the time people share how they were able to overcome, or you find strength there. And it's also just taking a step back sometimes. You must understand what you do to relax. Some people say, I don't know what I do to relax. As an entrepreneur, you have to know. So that's really it. But when you stop trying on the idea is when you see that if you keep ideating and customers are still not using it, you can drop it. Because at the end of the day, it's for customers to use. So you can drop it for a while, maybe go and do other things. Inspiration might come to you. You might gain knowledge that can show you how you can do it and all of that. Yeah, fine. But once people are not using, you've tried, people are not using, I would say take a step back. But the moment when you stop trying is really left to you. But as an entrepreneur, you take a lot of jabs. So that ability to take in failure, you have to imbibe it. I hope I was able to at least answer your question a bit. So it's one of the things you face in the entrepreneurship journey. You talk to a lot of customers. I don't know if you've talked to some customers that you've had like 10 meetings with them. You've done the work. In short, you're already seeing the money in your mind. And then they tell you that they just ghost you. Those that even explain to you is even fine. They just ghost you. Just don't see them again. And you feel dejected. What am I even doing? So that's it. Sabanjo, did I manage to answer the question? Am I still being it?
Yeah, you did. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions, observations? Okay, there's something in the chat. So that's really how it is. Oh, yes, ma. All right, thanks. Can you hear the sound of this
studio
video?
From the series? We hope that this series is helping you to understand how design thinking works.
Can you hear the sound?
Yes.
Okay.
Works, and how you can use it to execute your ideas or improve upon your products, services, and experiences. In previous case study we looked at design thinking in Netflix. Today we'll look at the automation industry. There are many companies that are pioneers in building cars, but one company stands at the forefront of it: Tesla. Tesla was the first company to bring to the market consumer-friendly electric cars that were affordable and eco-friendly. Before we proceed further, we would request you to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to receive notifications whenever we upload something new. Coming back to the case study, let's get an understanding of why we have chosen Tesla as our subject for this case study. Understanding. Global warming is a serious concern that needs our immediate attention. Jocelyn Timperley from BBC reports that globally transport accounts for nearly 3/4 of the greenhouse gas emissions. Keeping this in mind, Tesla's mission now is to build cars with clean and sustainable energy.
We created Tesla to make a difference in the world. The world desperately needs sustainable transport. If we don't solve this problem this century, we are fracked.
Ideation.
The electric car is here.
During the 1990s and 2000s, there were many attempts to build electric cars that could meet consumer needs, but then this happened.
GM never sold the EV1, it only leased them, and is now demanding that all of them be returned.
After 10 years and well over $1 billion spent to make a real business case out of it, it didn't develop.
So most of the returned vehicles have been donated to museums, cannibalized for parts, or sent to this junkyard. They'll be crushed and recycled.
The main challenges that car makers faced at the time was building a battery for the car that could last long enough, as also to find a way to charge the battery fast enough.
GM no longer had to produce the EV1, and there were reasons it didn't want to. The car's batteries get only about 120 miles per charge, and replacement batteries cost at least $6,000.
GM gradually recalled almost all of the leased EV1 vehicles due to a lawsuit and destroyed them. Some of them were handed over to museums. But you would be surprised to know that movie director Francis Ford Coppola is the only verified private owner of a GM EV1 outside of the museum.
I really loved this car, and when I heard they were going to destroy them all, I hid it so that they couldn't get it.
Tesla began in 2003 with engineers Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning trying to build an electric sports car, but in 2008 they came out with the Roadster. Although not a sports car, this electric car overcame the challenges of building a battery that could last long enough. The Roadster could complete 320 kilometers in one charge. Though this battery was better, it still wasn't good enough to drive in, and there was no viable option for fast charging the car's battery. Roadster was the stepping stone to Tesla's flagship car, Model S.
There are 2,300 Roadster owners out there driving all around the world today who helped us get here today. We thank every single one of them, and everything they taught us is in Model S. Everything.
Tesla released Model S in 2012, giving better mileage and a lower price tag, which instantly became a market hit.
So we're going to count it down, all right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let them go!
Tesla mainly uses lithium-ion batteries for their cars, and came with a capacity of 40, 60, and 85 kilowatt-hours. With respect to charging a Tesla, you could do it in 3 ways, with a regular charging port at home which would take around 52 hours. A level 2 charging point, which is an EV charger at your home, or at commercial spaces, which would take around 9 hours, and lastly, through supercharging. Superchargers are charging stations set up by Tesla in public spots, which would take less than 40 minutes for a full charge. While charging could happen overnight, this was still time-consuming and inefficient. In the efforts of scaling up and meeting demands for Teslas, Elon Musk recognized the need for more batteries and storage products for the cars, and found it difficult to source the materials, and decided to set up the Gigafactory, one of the world's largest factories. The Gigafactory now manufactures Model 3 electric motors and battery packs, in addition to Tesla's energy storage products, Powerwall, and Powerpack. Over the years, Tesla improvised on its cars by adding an autopilot feature and a dog mode. They also added many safety features to their software. Autopilot was introduced in 2015 with the aim of making driving easier for long distances and eventually for disabled persons. Dog mode was introduced in 2019 to help pets stay in a controlled environment in the car when the owners were away. The dog mode was received with positivity by many. It's also interesting to note that Tesla uses their own self-driving software and in-car software. All Tesla cars now have over-the-air updates which work like updating apps on phones. This over-the-air updates help car owners always keep their automated cars up to date. Prototyping and testing. Tesla beta tested their autopilot feature by installing it in all their cars through over-the-air updates, which then used the data to flush out bugs and make the program better. This method has been met with apprehension and doubts. But Tesla continues to test and improvise. Tesla tests their cars using multiple methods and assessments. They are known to have gotten the highest scores on the Euro NCAP testing program, which is a notoriously harsh testing program for automobiles. While these are novel features of Tesla's electric cars, it's also important to note on the sustainability front, in 2021 alone, Tesla enabled their users to avoid emitting 8.4 million metric tons of carbon dioxide emissions. Tesla has been popular in the media due to its advanced electronic features, as well as controversies about its cars, workplace practices, occupational safety, and business practices. Though there are controversies and concerns, Tesla remains the world's safest and leading automaker in electric vehicles. With a market capitalization of $600 billion.
All right, here we go. On three, Tesla. 1, 2, 3, Tesla!
If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and give us your feedback in the comments section. Subscribe to the channel for more. Tesla used design thinking to become one of the world's best automakers. See how you can use design thinking to your advantage.
All right, people. So the class is over to you. From the video you watched, what did you learn? What did you see? What are the insights that you've drawn? So let me start with Buki this time. I'll not go back. Oh, Buki, nice. You people are muted.
Okay, so I mean, it was obvious that they went through, the whole cycle, right? I could see empathy where they decided to do, electric cars instead of something that will bring out exhaust pipes and, disturb the
global warming.
The global warming. I could see empathy where they started to think about how, so first off, there was a place to charge the batteries, right? That would take 40 minutes, but they also tried to make it convenient for people to say you can charge from the house, even though that would take time. There was empathy in also thinking about the fact that, this thing is actually charging from your house is taking longer. Let's find a different way to, shorten the charging time. It was, yes. So like I could see empathy from there. Then they were the idea team, they kept coming up with different ideas and it seemed like they never stopped. That's the funny thing. it seems like with their idea thing, they never stop. They push one out, it seems like it works. They look for a better idea to make it better. They keep pushing it out. Really. Mr. Bajana, wow. And you know, they kept pushing it out.
I was waiting for somebody to say it.
And then the prototyping, which is where GM made a mistake. You know, they worked on prototyping. GM just, they didn't even test it, and they pushed out a lot, and it messed them up at the end of the day. But Tesla was very careful. Apparently they were, and we all know that Tesla, they're like luxury cars. So if you check how they do it, they don't push out so many at once. You know, they push small. Oh, it works. Okay, let's try something else. Oh, it works. Let's try this. Oh, you know, so they are they were very particular about, you know, prototyping. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So that's what I want to say.
Thank you very much, Vicky. Thank you very much. I love that. Anne. Let Anne go next. Anne, are you there? Okay.
Pity, I'm here, but I missed some parts because I was off very well. Yeah.
Okay, but it's the video we are analyzing actually. Did you watch any part of the video?
Yeah, I did from the beginning.
Okay, so what did you pick? That's what you're analyzing, yes.
Okay. So what did I pick? Like Bukola said, you know, never giving up, doing the same, not just doing the same thing, but like improving on what you have. Like for me, I noticed that they started from somewhere. That's Tesla. It started from somewhere and kept on improving and improving. And that's like the most thing, like that's like the major thing I see with like other apps. Like if you look at Piggyvest, they started from one place and kept on adding new features, you know, continue doing research to understand their target audience. And I think that's one thing I really want to take from it. Keep on improving on yourself. And I think the other thing is Tesla or GM. How do I put this? Sometimes the idea you want might not come from, you know, from the scratch. You could see other ideas and
that you can improve upon.
Yes, yeah, that was like one of the things so you know, sometimes we have this stuff of, oh, I want to be the first person that started this thing. I want to be the first person in this niche. I want to be the first person. Whereas you can just look at a certain, maybe education, and you're like, okay, I think I can improve on what Udemy has, or I've faced this issue with this particular app. So why don't I just bring something different? Yeah, or improve on it. Let me just stop here because I like to function.
Thank you very much, Anne. Banjo, let's go to Banjo. Okay, Roots, duly noted. Banjo, let's hear you. So we go from Banjo to Emmanuel, we land on Victor. Is Banjo there?
Let Emmanuel go. They've already stand up my phone.
No, when you repeat it, there's a way it sounds differently. but you want Emmanuel to go first. You will still go, Sha. So should we take it now? Or?
Yeah, let me go.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like Cookie said, there was empathy. The fact that they were considering something eco-friendly and considering people with disability. I think that stood them out in the whole journey, because if I'm identifying with someone who is disabled, sort of, I will feel I can't drive a car because of how the whole thing is. Even as far as getting the auto drive now, even you don't have
autopilot.
to do anything. So I think their empathy really speaks, and people, you know, bought into that emotion and really loved it. That stood them out, because I mean, there are different brands. There's Ford, there is you know, Toyota, and the competition has always been okay, durability, speed limit, and all of that between those other brands. but they generated another problem and solved those problems, in the system. And I think that's what stood them on.
Thank you, Banjo. You can see that you said it your own way and it made fantastic sense. But what I even found very amazing was the fact that they had dog mode. So you can put it on dog mode.
To say that, yes, that dog mode was so good. And I think that we understood that there are people, Americans like to have a lot of dogs. They love having dogs. So they just thought about it and said, okay, this will be like, it'd be nice to just leave your dog in the car, quickly go into the supermarket. It was a fantastic idea.
So you can see that the empathic process doesn't stop. Okay, Emmanuel, we'll do Victor, and then we can call it a day. Emmanuel.
Okay, ma. For me, what I picked is that from the onset, they established a clear design goal. They know what they wanted. Like they have a metrics for measuring what they are doing. Like they have a key user requirement. They have like a performance benchmark, and they have a sustainability plan. So based on what I watched, they have a sustainability plan. So it all boils down to like empathy, like everyone has said. Like they factored in the users, what the users want, and they consider that before designing what they design. So for me, that's what I picked.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Ruth is on the road, but she said that she learned flexibility towards their design thinking process, especially the definition and prototyping and quickly implementing to know if that's what the market currently wants. Thank you, Ruth, for that. Victor, what did you pick? Last man standing. Victor, I can't hear you. Are you speaking? Can anybody hear Victor?
No, ma'am.
No.
Okay. Oh, Victor, unfortunately, we can't hear you.
Okay,
I can hear. Okay.
Now?
Yes.
Okay. So what I picked was from how quickly they resolved or they found a solution for the issue they had with batteries, the delay in charging, even charging overnight doesn't solve the problem, and they had to come up with a supercharging solution. That is just like one thing I picked. When they've already had the car ready, but they encountered another problem, they were quick to come up with a design, think about a way to make sure that they can get the solution fast. So they were very, very big on execution, and I think that is something that matters. Even when you think of a problem, and you think of how to design a solution for it, but then you go ahead and build something.
But thank you very much. We all have said really interesting things, and the question that Banjo asked just before we watched the video talking about failure, would we say that GM failed? Because see the amount of cars, electric vehicles they had to call back because they had challenges increasing the mileage from 120. But I'm sure that probably what Tesla did, because they have done something, Tesla studied what they did, and they just kept looking for ways in which to make the battery better. But then, do we blame GM? So maybe that should be the assignment now. I'm going to give us an assignment. When GM called back the vehicles after 10 years, they were not making money on the vehicles and all of that. Do we blame GM for stopping at that time? Or do you think that for them, it was a good business decision? What was the time frame between when GM stopped and when Tesla came out? Do you think there's a connection between GM having that car and when Tesla came out? That would be our assignment. I will share the video with us in the group and I'll write the assignment. What is your thought? Now, there's no there's no a right or wrong answer. It's just how you perceive it. Do you see what GM did as a failure? Do you think it was okay after 10 years? You are okay to close shop if something's not working. Do you think? I don't know if you noticed that they later said that Tesla was building their own batteries because they could not get enough batteries, so they had to open a factory to be building the batteries. So really, I would like to hear our thoughts on that. I'll frame the question and share the video with us. But all in all, thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for 2 hours of listening, of participating, and of investing in yourself and in your business. It's my hope, really, that that you're able to do something wonderful and transformative and impactful with the lessons that you've gotten. Thank you very much. Do have a lovely weekend.
You too. Bye.